What's up, DIY fam? Welcome back to Rent This Flip That. Today we're taking a look at this mailbox post. There used to be a tree in front of it and people used to back up into the tree, but once that tree was cut down by the city, people have hit the mailbox, and I think it's been hit 2 or 3 times, and you can see that it's really wobbly. The letters, I mean, these numbers over here probably need to be replaced. It does definitely need a new paint job, but some of this old paint needs to be taken off. And it's also missing a flag, as you can see, and if I'm not mistaken, I think there was ants in there at one time. So I believe it's best to just start completely over from scratch, build this thing a new post, get us a new mailbox. And by the way, I got a deal on my mailbox. It was the display model, so I got it for half price. On a scale of 1 to 10, skill-wise, I would say probably a 4 or 5. It's not that hard. We can do it. All right, hang tight. Let's go get some measurements and we'll get started. All right, you guys, so we got all the measurements. I got them written down on my piece of cardboard right here. Now, the way I did this at the store is I looked for an 8-footer because I figured I did a little bit of pre-measuring out there on how far it needed to go to ground and how far it was going to be sticking out and where the mailbox would go. And I thought I can definitely probably make it happen with just one 8-footer. So the 8-footer I think was like $10.98 if you're wondering for that. And then I got me some 3 1/8-inch screws. Hopefully we'll make it happen with that. Anyway, I'm not going to put this thing in the ground 2 foot. I mean, it's a mailbox post, so I want to get as much of it out of the top as I can. And I feel like 1.5 feet should suffice for a mailbox post out there. I mean, my mail lady, she ain't young, she ain't old, but she ain't young, so she ain't out just snatching on my thing, you know what I'm saying? I think we're gonna be fine, especially if I put it in some concrete, which I've been thinking about doing, but it's not necessary. Anyway, let's get this thing cut. I'll shut up. So let's do 1.5 feet, and that's where it's going to be sticking out of the ground. Now, I looked out there and mine was at 32, and I want to raise it up a little bit, that way the mail lady ain't got to bend down so much, so I'm going to do 36 inches. There you go, and that's to the bottom of my post, so you can see what we're left with there. Not a whole lot, but we'll try to make it happen. All right, so here we got 3.5 inches. Mine is like 3 9/16. Let me check the other side. 3 9/16, yeah, because it's a little bit swollen. 3 9/16. All right, so anyway, let's get this marked all the way around, because this is where we're going to be cutting it. Anyway. That's going to be where the top of this is right here, and as you can see out there, I think it was sticking up like 6 inches. I'm gonna go check my mailbox and see how tall it is, and however tall it is, that's how tall I'm gonna make the short point of my angle up at the top. Does that make sense? You guys hang tight, let me grab that mailbox. All right, so here's the mailbox. You can see we got this thing on a deal. It's pretty sweet. So this is going to be sitting at this point in the mailbox post. So that means if I come up here and make me a little mark to the top of that, if I wanted to make that where the top of my post would be, that's it. Now mine back there was backwards, and they put the short point towards the inside, so it was lower and sat back here and then went up. I thought that looked weird, so I wanted to check online, and yeah, mine's backwards. Now there was another one where they, made it beveled off on all 4 sides and made a line around that. I would love to do that. I just don't think I'm gonna have enough room, and so I may have to either get another post or use one of these back here that I have, just for my 45-degree angle brace. We'll see, we'll jump into it, but anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing started and get it cut, and we'll figure it out in just a minute. All right, you guys, so I have figured out what it is I'm going to do. I think I'm gonna make it a little bit fancy. However, I did tell you this was DIY, so I'm gonna show you both ways of doing it if you don't wanna do it the way that I am doing it. So it's a little bit more DIY friendly, and you should be able to do it that way. But I'm gonna show you both ways. So here's what we got. So as you can see, from where I got it in the ground to the bottom of my 4x4 post, this being the top, this is where the mailbox would sit. So I definitely want that board in the back to stick up above. So I've made a mark back here. Now, if I was doing it this way, super DIY friendly way, I would mark that right there, and that being the part of my long point on my angle. And so also, I want to mark this side right here. Now, if I follow that around to the other side and mark it as well, I should be able to cut this thing with an angle with a circular saw so that it's even on both sides. So now what you'll want to do is, I like to use the speed square because it's accurate for both sides, is just come on down, I would say 1 inch would be fine, 1 inch, and make a mark right there, and then take your 45, slide it down, and make a mark. Now remember, this right here, you can see this right here, this is the side your mailbox is going to be against. So that way, we want to make sure that it sticks up. The wood part is just above the top of that mailbox right there. Once you come over 1 inch on that side, flip it over, All right, so right here you can see the 1 inch right there. So I would come over right here, make my mark at 1 inch, and then take my 45 and slide it down, just like that, to where the edge of this comes to where my 1 inch is. And now when I take my saw and cut through there, it's the same when I cut through there and cut through there. Does that make sense? Because you have to cut through both sides. All right, we're not going to do ours that way, but I just wanted to show you both ways, so that way you can do it that way if it's a little bit easier for you. And I mean, I will show you how to cut something like that. That way you know what I'm talking about. Hang tight. Here's what we have. You can see it turned out pretty smooth, pretty flush. That right there, you can see that right there. So I got off a little bit. You can either run the saw back through and try to fix it, hit it with a sander, or you can say, you know what, I'm calling it good. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. But anyway, this is the part that would go just like that right there. And like I said, I would like to have mine a little bit taller. All right, guys, that's how you cut that. Let's moving on to what I'm going to do. Anyway, I'm going to make a mark based on where these marks are over here on both sides of the post, so I know how far to cut over to. I'm going to go 1 3/4 from there. And also, see, this speed square has a little notch, so I'm able to run my saw down like this right here. And I come up and match over here where this other one is and just make my mark. Now we're just going to move it over to this side right here. Line it up with our marks right there. Line it up with my mark on this side. Go to my 1 3/4, which is right here. And so that gets cut out, that gets cut out, and then over on the other side, that gets cut out. All right, let's get started. I'll show you how we do that. Now, if you have a sliding miter saw, you can set this up on your station and just come through and just go straight across, slide it on down, do some more, slide it on, do it. For the purposes of this, which is really DIY friendly, because you never know if you do have a sliding miter saw. This is the best way I know how to do this. We need to set the depth for our saw. So here's where I set my depth. And I'm going to go down where it just kind of touches my pencil line. Right there. Down, I lock it down. Lock it down. All right, so now I'm going to do a couple passes through here and make it just in real thin pieces. Then we can take a screwdriver or a pry bar or something like that and just wedge them loose and then clean out the rest of it when we're done. All right, here we go. You can also take a Sawzall and come through here and hit it sideways if that seems a little bit more easier for you. But there you go. You see we got it in there. And we're left with 1 3/4 on the other side. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and cut this part of it. This is where the top of my thing is. So I do want it to stick up a little bit more, right? And maybe like that far. Here, this thing is 18 inches. This right here does not have to be as long as the board that's going in there. You see what I'm saying? It just offers it support. So let's call this, let's do 16 inches. 16 inches, and then our 3.5 inches. You guys are like, what are you talking about, Z? You'll see. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Let's do 1 inch. This is actually the very, very tip top of this post right here, right here. This is where I'm going to cut a 45, and then I'm going to try to put a little line across it too. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's take a look at that. So we have to cut this first. Okay, so while this is still on, I'm going to go ahead and cut this little thing I'm talking about. And I'm just guessing on that one. Huh? Right, there we go. That's what it'll be. So for this, we don't want to go so deep. I'm only going to go like somewhere around like 3/8 of an inch. Maybe 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, it's good right there. That's how much I've gone down. All right, now I'm going to put it on a 45 and then cut these lines right here, but they need to be drawn all the way around too. So let me get those drawn. I'm just going to line it up with what's here. And on this, I'm going to have to throw it over to a 45-degree bevel. See, like that. But also, I need to probably set the depth a little bit deeper because I don't think it's going to go all the way through. All right, guys. Definitely do not stick your hands underneath there because your saw's on a bevel now, okay? All right, here we go. That's what I'm talking about. Now this right here could have been down here. Who knows? You guys can put it wherever you want. You can also make it as wide as you want. But that's what I went with, and that's our top right there. So I think I'm happy with that. Let's check it with a mailbox. Boom, that'll stick up just like that. I love it. All right, moving on. All right, so here is our notch. We already marked that. So that, let's go ahead and just at least mark it, and then we can mark our angle parts if we have to cut those first. So there's that. 3/4, boom, right there. All right, so this is going to go in like this. Does that make sense? So with that being said, we want to make sure that our angles are the same on both sides. So this one would need to come back this way, and then this one would need to go back this way. This don't make no sense. Well, you could do it that way, but that would look weird up here. So let's keep them the same. This one will come back this way, and this will come back this way. All right, so you know what? I'm just make this 1.5 inches. And here's I'm gonna pull from the top, from the bottom there, 1.5 inches. Right there. And then when I slide this over to my mark like that, yeah, I like that. That gives us a 45. You see that? I like that. That's how much that's sticking out. Okay. Then over here, 1.5 inches. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get those cut, and then we'll cut our notch here. Sweet, let's do it. So there's that. So now this goes in here just like that. I just got to cut this notch out so we can even it out. Let's go. If you're gonna do it that way, definitely proceed with caution, but you can also use a Sawzall like I said. All right, let's put this thing together. This will go just like that. I love it. Look at this. Look at that, guys. It fits together like a Lego. All I have a rubber mallet. I'm gonna go grab that so I can smash this thing on. We're gonna take our screws and put this thing together. There. Boom. All right, guys, that is our post. I still got to cut that 45 for right here. Like I say, I got a 2x4 down here. I think I'm gonna get a little bit fancy with it. We'll see. Here we go. It was 13, but we ain't using 13. You know, sometimes that's suspicious. All right. Yeah, man, sometimes you just have to reach for the moon. You know, the stars, whatnot. I don't know if this is even or not, but it looks like it to me. I'm gonna check that right there. Check that right there. Let me see what you got. That was a guess, guys. Let's see how close we are. That says 3 1/4. That says 3 3/8. Let's just move it over just a smidgen. I'm taking it right there. Boom. All right, so from there to there, I'll take that, and we're just gonna trace that out. Look at that. Yeah, what do you think, guys? I like it. I think I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna do it. Why not? Why not? Let's do it. All right, so I'm just gonna find the center here, and then should be able to center that thing up. Looks like I got it right there. For 1 3/4. 1 3/4. Let's see, from here to here is 9 7/8. From here to here, 9 7/8. I'm taking it. All right, guys, we're just gonna drive a screw through there. Call it good. All right, team, there we go. 1 mailbox post. All we got to do is put our board on top of there, go dig a hole, get the other one out, of course, and put this one in. I'll do that first thing in the morning, and I'll check back with you and show you the finished product. What's up? All right, you guys, so it is the next day now. I went and found some black paint in my trailer in there, and so you can see I put a little bit on there just to see if it was going to go. I actually came out and caulked the cracks this morning just to make sure we got all that filled in, so when I sprayed it, we have no issues. Talked to my wife. I was going to go white with this thing, but she was like, I thought you were going to do black, and I was like, oh yeah, I was going to do black because the other one was white. So I'm just trying to make this thing as elegant as possible. It's just going to be all black mailbox, black post, fancy little black corbel that I put on there. You guys saw how to do that yesterday. All right, guys, so I got this thing caulked up. I got my paint. I'm fixing to get started. No sense in talking to you guys about how to paint. I'm just going to roll through this thing, and then we'll try to get it after it's dry, get it in the ground sometime before we go to sleep tonight. All right, hang tight. Here we go. All right, you guys, so it looks like we got that whole thing painted up, and I did want to show you this. I was gonna go with 1x, but I figured if I use this 2x material, I'll raise it up a little bit higher. I mean, it'll give me another 1/2 inch, or actually give me another 3/4 of an inch higher. Not that that's a big difference for the mail lady, but hey, it does raise it up. But anyway, this part right here, so this thing sits down right here, and you can see I drew some lines on the back to help get it centered up, but it'll just go into that right there, and then I drive some screws in through here. And then once we get this thing, as you can see, it slips right over top of it. And then you can just drive screws in through the side right there to attach it. And I have some exterior screws for that. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get this wood piece attached to this, and then put my post in the ground. I love it. All right, guys, so that is the final on the paint job. I'm gonna go ahead and let this thing dry. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go pull the other mailbox post out of the ground and get that hole ready for this one. Hang tight. All right, you guys, so I went on down to Lowe's and I decided to go ahead and get some concrete and throw it in the hole. I figured why not make it a big solid block down in there. That way we don't have to ever worry about it leaning forward, leaning backwards, or anything such as that. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop this post in the ground, throw some concrete around it, put some water in there, stir it up, and then I'm gonna call it a day. All right, you guys, hang tight. Here we go. Like a little cone at the top where water can just run off. I've seen that done. That'll help so that water doesn't just gather around my post. That makes sense. Look at that. I love it. Dude, let's check this side. Look at that. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and run with it. All right, so we had a slight bit of operator error. As you can see, I've made this thing tied up against there. I thought about leaving a gap. I don't know why I didn't, but this is not going to be able to fit around the back side back there. The length is fine. I just need to shove this thing this way, probably around 3/8, so that we have a little bit of a gap. Should be pretty simple. Just pull these screws and move it up, and then with the paint under there, I should be able to line it up pretty good too. Now we'll just slip this over top. Perfect. I love it. I love it. All right, you guys, that's one mailbox post and mailbox installed. I hope you guys got some value out of that. If you did, go ahead and put a stamp on your like button and send that thing out. That way we know you guys enjoyed today's video. And also, if you would like to see more videos like this, go ahead down and below and become part of the DIY family by subscribing to the channel, and make sure you ring the bell. All right, you guys, I think that's gonna do it for me on this one, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Until next time, take care and stay safe. Peace.